Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 7 of my 30 favorite albums from my high school years. It's back to school month here in September 2022. 30 days of September. We're all together taking a look at our 30 most played, our absolute favorite albums from our high school years. So, for those of you who maybe don't live in the U.S., maybe you don't have the term high school. Think of your last 4 years of school before you either left to go work, or went into the military, or went to go to university or college. Right. So those last 4 years, typically age 14 to 18, maybe 13 to 17, something like that. Here in the States, ninth grade through 12th grade. High school years. Very formative years. When it comes to music, we were all like sponges back then, right? So there's albums that we gravitated towards. We listened to nonstop. Loved them with every part of us, right? And in many cases, we still listen to a lot of those same albums to this day. This particular pick, I played more times than I could even tell you. I completely fell in love with this album. And what's interesting is that I think this album and this artist a little bit different than some of the other stuff that I was really, really into at the time. As you know, 1980 through 1984, those were my high school years. Big into heavy rock, hard rock, and metal. I listened to some mellower stuff before then. I was a Kiss fan, and probably starting in 1975, 76. Started listening to like ELO and the Eagles and Paul McCartney and Wings and Steve Miller Band and Little Genesis and Yes and Kansas and Boston and Meatloaf and Styx. And then eventually, got the Black Sabbath bug, and then I started to, from there, listen to heavier music. But this guitarist completely caught my attention. And again, I've told you guys a million times, I'm a sucker for live albums, for one, and two, I'm a sucker for a live album or any album that's got a great live band picture on it, right? Live photograph. And when I saw this in the racks, I had no idea who this guy was. None whatsoever. And I saw this album and I'm like, that looks amazing. A guy playing a Fender Stratocaster in front of a huge audience in like a stadium or something. Gotta have it. Weird name. Robin Trower? Who the fuck is Robin Trower? Cool band pictures on the back. Yeah, love it. Robin Trower live. That's the one right there. Okay, this is a 2-on-1 for Earth Below. And these are the pictures that were on the back. And I was like, oh, it's a power trio. I'm in. I bought it. I brought it home, and from the first, notes of Two Rolling Stones, and then in comes the wah-wah pedal. I'm like, this is really up my alley. It was groovy, it was bluesy, it was funky, and it rocked. I just, and again, at the time, I was aware of Jimi Hendrix, heard lots of Jimi Hendrix stuff on the radio, but I didn't really own any Jimi Hendrix at the time. So I was not one of those people that's like, oh, Trower's just doing the Hendrix thing. So I got into Trower first, actually. So, and I was probably like, when I first bought this album, it was either in 1979 or 1980. And man, I didn't stop listening to this through high school, all the way through my college years. I mean, I still listen to this a ton to this day, but man, I played this nonstop for, the 4 years of high school, certainly, and into college, certainly, and after that. But I mean, this was one of my go-to live albums. Trower, for me, was probably my first true guitar hero. Like a guy that was just an insane soloist and fronted a band. This is the guy who got me first. I was already into Iommi, but more as Black Sabbath a band. I hadn't quite yet got the ridiculous Richie Blackmore bug. That came shortly thereafter. Hadn't yet gotten the Gary Moore bug. Schenker was right around the corner, but the first guy that I think really truly made me a fan of just guitar-based music and a guitar soloist, and certainly a guy who played like kind of psychedelic bluesy, heavy hard rock music, and who used like a fuzz pedal and a wah wah pedal and a phaser and a univibe and all that kind of shit, was this guy. And that voice from Jimmy Dewar, the bass player, incredible, just absolutely incredible. So what else is on here? Daydream, dreamy, atmospheric, awesome, great vocals. Then of course you have Rock Me Baby, and then Lady Love. I mean, side 2 is incredible. Lady Love, the moody, brooding, I Can't Wait much longer. What a solo in that. Alethea, which is just funky and up tempo, and then perhaps my favorite song on the whole album. Well, the bookends to this album are great. Two Rolling Stone and A Little Bit of Sympathy. A Little Bit of Sympathy, again, kind of funky, bluesy. And Trower takes you to all sorts of different places with his guitar licks, and then that fantastic solo at the end where he just, puts it all out, clicks on the wah-wah pedal, screaming up, just amazing. Bill Lorden on drums, just what a great live album. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information on this live album too, which I think is pretty interesting. So released in 1976 originally for the Chrysalis Records label. Like I said, I got this, I think, in 79, maybe very early 1980, something like that. So this was his first live album, recorded at the Stockholm Concert Hall in Sweden on February 3rd, 1975 for the Swedish Broadcasting Corporation, and originally released on vinyl in 1976. Now, interestingly enough, this picture on the front, which he's playing in an open-air stadium, is not where this came from. This was like a, indoor concert hall which holds less than 2,000 people, so it's much more intimate than what you see on here, which I always thought that this was like this is like played and made, because I always heard the rumors that it was recorded in Sweden, but I don't, back when I was a kid, I don't know Sweden concert halls from open air stadium, I don't know nothing, right? So I was like, oh, how cool, this was taped. And it almost sounds like when you listen to this, you can hear they sound like they're playing in front of a huge audience, but in actuality it wasn't. Like I said, less than 2,000 people, and the band had no idea that they were being taped that night. Okay, the band was not aware that the show was being taped. They thought they was just for radio broadcast only, and Trower says, we were loose and uninhibited, and we played one of our best shows ever. What I'd like to know is, where's the rest of it? Right? Because it's only a single LP, very short CD, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs. Where's the rest of it? They probably played Bridge of Sighs that night. They probably played Day of the Eagle. They probably played maybe another song or two from Twice Removed from Yesterday. They probably played another song for Earth Below, which is the album that came out, the studio album that came out before this. So I'm assuming they probably played 90 minutes. You mean to tell me that those tapes, those recordings haven't surfaced from that radio show in all these years? Oh, man. Deserves to be a double album. Absolutely deserves. If you go and get the King Biscuit Flower Hour live album, which was recorded not that long after this, a couple years after this, you get a little bit more of what the full Robin Trower set was around, but even that's not long enough either. We deserve like a double album of this. And it's a great sounding live album. Most of the tempos on these versions of these songs are, at least for the more rockin' stuff, are a little bit more sped up from what you have on the studio albums. Like I think Two Rolling Stone is great on this because it is a little bit faster, a little bit heavier than the more laid back bluesier version on the Bridge of Sighs album. So, but yeah, I mean, all great, all great. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. So anyway, Robin Trower Live is my pick for today. I can talk about this album all day long. It's just one of my favorite Guitar Hero albums of all time. One of the great hard rock, blues rock live albums of all time. Again, I wish it was a double. So that's my pick today for day 7. So if you have anything to say about this Robin Trower live album, put it in the comments below. But also please do list your pick for today down there as well. And yeah, visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that button as well. And you got the the little bell thingy there, notification bell. This way, if you click on that, you'll get alert of all of our videos as they post. You'll get that email notification. Very, very important, as we do post a lot of shit here on the channel. So, you don't want to miss all this great stuff. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you all at SOT Fall Fest on October 1st, in just a couple weeks, at the Chance of Poughkeepsie, New York. So come on down. We got a full day full of discussion and music. So if you haven't heard, we've got the Pat Travers Band, we've got Vanilla Fudge, we've got Nectar, we've got Sonus Umbra, Epic Tantrum, Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash will be on hand, Chris Caffrey from Sabotage and Trans-Siberian Orchestra will be on hand, and we're going to have live on stage the Hudson Valley Squares, In the Prague Seat, Martin Popoff, and all of us here at Sea of Tranquility. So it's going to be a really fun day of music and talk. So get your tickets now, and we'll see you at the Chance October 1st. And we'll see you tomorrow with another of my 30 favorite albums from my high school years. Remember, you guys pick your 4 years and put your favorites down below. So we'll see you each and every day here on this particular show. I am Pete Pardo. Have a good one, everybody. See you tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye-bye.